Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do my third quarter TBR wrap up. So this is basically my summer TBR. We're going to go through the books and see which ones I have read and which ones I haven't read, how successful I was with my reading plans. I do have the goal to reduce my physical TBR to 0 books, and we'll talk about how successful that was month by month. So first of all, we're going to go into some stats, and then we're going to go through the books and see which ones I have read. So let's start out with the stats. The first month that we had in the third quarter was July. For July, I had 5 books on my TBR, and I managed to start 3 of them and finish 2 of them by the end of July. So that was quite okay. And taking like all of the books I've read in July, 25% of those were from my TBR pile. So that's not where I want this to be. I want this number to be closer to 50% of what I'm reading. So unfortunately in July we did not reach that goal, but oh well. It happens. Then I also track the books that I check out from the library, because obviously if I get a lot of library books and read those, I'm not reading my own books. So in July, I had 4 books checked out from the library, and of those 4, I started 3 and finished 2. So similar numbers to the TBR reads. So again, about 25% of my reading were library books, and I think that is okay. I think, you know, a few library books I do want to read, because I do have a great selection here at the library, especially with ebooks from Libby. So I don't want to like cut myself off from that completely, but yeah, I still wish I would have read more books from my actual TBR. Now, July was a readathon month, so I did have to find books that fit actual prompts. So that always makes it a little bit harder, and that's also why 50% of the books I read were actually new books I bought. Very good. Next, we're moving on to August. In August, I again put 5 books on my monthly TBR. Out of those 5 books, I started and finished 2, and I also finished one of the ones that I had left over from July. So overall 3 books from my TBR pile read in August. Then 33% of all the books I read in August were from my TBR pile, which again is nowhere near the 50% where I want it to be. So again, August was not great for that. I must say that the 2 books I read though were very, very long books, so that at least was good. So in August, I had 3 books checked out from the library, and out of these 3 books, I started and finished 1. So 11% of my books read in August were from the library. Again, that number is completely fine by me, but just the TBR pile should be bigger. Like, that's just not where I want it to be. Last but not least, we're looking at September, and in September I had 6 books on my TBR, and out of these 6 books I started 4 and finished 3. So again, that isn't too bad. Out of the books that I've read in September, 33% again were from my TBR pile, so we're still not reaching the 50%, and it's just bugging me this time. And then I had 2 books checked out from the library in September, and I started and finished one of those, and so again 11% of my reading in September were library books. So percentage wise I did a lot worse than I did in the other month for some reason, which isn't great. I would have wished for it to be different, but oh well, what can you do? And that's just that. I have to try harder. I really have to try harder. But at the same time, the new shiny books are always beckoning. So yeah, what can you do? So next up, we're gonna go through the books and I'll tell you which ones I've read and which ones sadly have to wait for next year to be read. So we're gonna start out with the one book that I do not own physically, and that was the 10,000 Doors of January, and I have read that one and I did a whole reading vlog for it if you want to go check it out. Then I had one book left over from my second quarter TBR, that was Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb. I also finished that in this quarter, and I did a whole series reading vlog for the Live Ship Traders, so if you're interested you can go and check that out. Last but not least, I switched out one book for another that I had read previously in the year, but originally thought I would read in summer. And I switched it out with Heartstopper Volume 3, which I have read. Now for the big project of the summer, I had the whole Chorus of Dragons series on my TBR. I did read The Ruin of Kings by Jen Lyons. I did read The Name of All Things by Jen Lyons, and I did read The Memory of Souls by Jen Lyons, and there is a reading vlog up already for the first half of the series, so if you're interested you can go and check it out. I did also finish The House of Always by Jen Lyons, and I'm still currently reading The Discord of Gods, so not quite finished with that yet. I'm exactly halfway through right now. So this will get finished in the last quarter of the year. Next up from my physical TBR, we have Beren and Luthien by Tolkien, and I did finish that. We have The Next Step in the Dance by Tim Gartrow. This is one of my bookshelf veterans, my TBR veterans, and I finally did read this. And that is where the good news ends, because next we have Bare Bones by Katie Reichs. This is the next book I have to read in the Temperance Brennan series, and I did not get around to this. I hope I can still squeeze it in somewhere this year. I would really love to. I also did not read this German book, Die Weiße Maasai by Corinne Hofmann. Unfortunately, it did not fit in. Then we have a very, very big classic, that is Ein weites Feld by Günter Grass. Again, did not fit it in. A non-fiction book that I've been meaning to read for so many years now. This is Lou Andreas Salome by Kerstin Decker. Again, did not fit it in. We have another German classic. This is Links wo das Herz ist by Leonhard Frank. Did not fit that into my reading. And last but not least, we have Wish You Were Here by Jodi Picoult. And yeah, it just stays on the TBR. So if I look at these two stacks right now, because of the Chorus of Dragons series, the piles do give me quite a good feeling. Like, the red pile is definitely much bigger than the unread pile. Still, I feel like there were a lot of books that I really wanted to get to, but I just didn't. And yeah, that's kind of sad. I feel like this quarter was definitely more of a failure when it comes to my TBR reduction, but I just hope I can make up for it. Maybe, hopefully, the next quarter will go better, and then we'll just see what we can do next year. Next year is the year where I really want to go through with the whole zero TBR thing. Like, if I cannot do it next year, I don't think I will be able to ever do it. So I've said it here. We're gonna try our best in the last quarter, and then 2025 is the year where we do the zero TBR. So I hope this was somewhat interesting to watch, to see which books I've read, which books I haven't read from my TBR. My TBR for the last quarter is already up if you want to go and check that out. And I think I'll leave you here. Leave a like or a nice comment if you have anything nice to say. I love to hear about it. And I'll talk to you very soon. Bye!